4 people dead, 1 officer killed, and now Mayor Eric Adams is admitting that the gun used in the massacre was built using parts legally bought in another state, completely outside of New York's strict gun laws. In fact, the lower receiver, that's the part that actually matters, was purchased by an associate. So the translation here is that gun control failed again, and now the NYPD is scrambling. I'm Andy with TrendingPolitics.com. Make sure you like, subscribe, and let's get into this.
Eric Adams, Mayor Adams, obviously just an absolutely tragic night for New York City. And the pain of this is just beginning to be felt for these 4 families who woke up yesterday morning thinking it was a normal day, and now their lives are changed forever. Sir, is there any new information that you have about what happened last night?
Thank you, and thank you. I really want to thank the station for highlighting how painful this is for our city and the law enforcement family. As a former law enforcement officer, there's some personal feelings that I am going through, the loss of this young officer. And we have discovered through our investigation, as this continues to unravel, that the weapon that was used, part of the weapon was purchased by an associate of the perpetrator. And he also purchased the firearm that was found in the car by using a carry permit that he received in Nevada. We're still looking into other aspects. 2 teams of detectives are going to Las Vegas. One would be conducting a search warrant of his home. The other is going to do further investigation into the firearms.
When you say part of the weapon was purchased by an associate, which part? What do you mean? And is there any indication that he had an accomplice in this, or that that person had any idea what his intentions were?
When you have an assault rifle of that sort, there are parts. There are lower parts of the body. There are upper parts. There are different parts that assembles the gun. The lower part, we are finding out, was purchased by an associate.
Let's get this straight. The killer used a legally purchased lower receiver from Nevada, bypassing every strict New York City gun law, and now Mayor Adams wants even stronger laws? That's like fixing a leaky roof by locking the front door. Mental health is the issue here, but pay attention, because what he says next is loaded with spin, deflection, and a desperate attempt to cover up a total policy failure by not allowing people to protect themselves legally. Let's roll it.
How can we prevent some blatant act of violence like this from happening again? Where are the things that can be done that could stop this from happening again?
I think that is such an important question, and you're right. All of us, in some way or another, even if we did not know the victims, there's a personal attachment, and mine is with the dad of police officer, our police officer that we lost. He has only 1 son. I have only 1 son. And I thought about Jordan as I did the press conference yesterday. The emotion of that was overwhelming for me. What we have to do is both proactive and preventive. Proactive, our laws must be clearer on identifying those with mental health issues. There appears to be, from the reports we're getting, that there's a mental health aspect to this. And we have to ensure that our laws are stronger. New York City, we have some of the strongest gun laws in the country, but as you saw, this gun came from outside our city. And the police officers in this city have removed over 23,000 illegal guns off our streets to keep New Yorkers safe. And that's why you see the record numbers of shooters and homicides are at the lowest level in these 6 months in the recorded history of the city. We know we're the safest big city in America, but that's no consolation when you have a tragedy of this magnitude.
So after all that talk about proactive policies and blaming Nevada, what's the actual solution they're pushing? Wait for it. More gun control, more mental health screenings, more government intervention, but none of that stopped this killer, and it won't stop the next one either. Coming up next, they double down on the emotional appeal and try to shame anyone who questions the narrative. Don't blink.
Well, you see this image of him walking in broad daylight with this AR right down the side of him, and you wonder, like, so is this on camera inside the building? There was one officer at the front door. There doesn't seem to be anything that prevented him from getting into the building. Once he shot that officer, there were two people that were killed in that lobby. It just feels, too easy. And also the presence of police officers on the street, Mayor, honestly, is something else that has been brought up a lot to me. Back in the day, it felt like officers were walking up and down the city blocks all the time. And I want you to tell me if we're wrong in feeling that that is not always the case anymore. Two things there.
When you have an individual who has a determination to put in place violence of that magnitude, everyone he encountered, except for one individual, everyone he encountered, he attempted to take their lives. He was determined to do harm. And in a law enforcement approach, that is something extremely challenging. The response of our police officers, I believe, saved many lives. And what Rooted Management did with the building, they created safe rooms that doubled as bathrooms with bulletproof doors that you can lock yourself in and no one can get inside. They carried out several active shooters drills, and I think that action saved the lives of people because of their proactive approach. It is extremely challenging in law enforcement when you have a person who is determined to carry out violence. You have to stop them before they can carry out more, or in this case, he stopped himself when he took his own life.
I want to circle back to the weapon that you just mentioned a moment ago, but do you believe that we have enough police officers out on the street, walking the blocks so that the presence of them is felt on the streets of New York, Mayor?
Yes, we do.
To sit there and say that they have enough police officers on the street is crazy, because this happened in New York City. That you either have to have police that protect the community and protect every single person in it, or you have to have an armed society. It's one of the two. Either cops are going to protect you or you're going to protect yourself. So they're sitting here touting this like it's a success story. The shooter walked in, murdered people in cold blood, but because the business had bulletproof rooms and they practiced active shooter drills, it was a success. This is absolutely absurd. The only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun, not a locked bathroom. Give me a break. They admit that he tried to kill everyone he encountered, and the only reason that the death toll wasn't higher was because he ended his own life. But don't worry, because Mayor Adams says they've got enough cops on the street. I don't think that New York City feels that way. This is Andy with TrendingPolitics.com. Subscribe, stay informed, stay vigilant, and I'll see you next time.